questions from the audience. A couple requirements. Your questions must be addressed to both candidates. You should refrain from saying anything that would be taken as an attack or criticism of the candidates. It should just be good, straightforward questions that will yield informative answers. So I will, and let's say you can have up to 3 minutes to answer the question.
Okay.
I have a question about this zoning, which is not been brought up, and I'm a victim of the zoning ordinances, or the lack of zoning ordinances in the town of Franklin. This happened a few years ago, and I had a business right behind the hospital I lived in that house for 6 years, and the town gave me a license to run my business, and the next thing I know, I'm told I'm working out an ordinance, and I lost everything I worked hard for. I went to the Board of Aldermen, they looked at me like soulless creatures, didn't do a thing to help me. The only one that stood up for me was Mr. Scott here, and he was outnumbered. And I want to make sure that it never happens to another individual again what happened to me, because I whistle-blew on this town, and I brought Channel 13 News in, and they covered the story, and I've been persecuted ever since. I was blackballed, I was tased, I was thrown in prison, and before I moved here, I never so much as had a traffic ticket. And this happened because I exposed the lack of government in this town with the zoning ordinances. They haven't revised the zoning ordinance since 1951, and I was a victim of their incompetence, and I'm still being victimized by it. And I want to know, what course of action are you going to take in the future to protect a whistleblowing individual when they expose incompetent government? Thank you.
Best I remember, I believe I talked on it with you. I believe you called me at home and I talked to you for about 2 hours.
And you didn't do a thing to help me.
Well, me alone, I alone cannot do that. Bob alone cannot do that. We're in the process of looking at our ordinances. And that's a long process. We have gone through the unified development, but still, even with that, we have to look at it and they change as time. Every time we have a problem with that, we have to change.
Taxpayers had to pay.
You can't, they have to be given a chance to respond and not engage in.
That's okay, that's okay. We're working on that, our ordinances. We really are.
Who's we? Is it the
Oh,
outside board you hired?
The Board of Aldermen. We just did a last board meeting, was all on zoning.
Too late for me.
Just a general ground rule of how we conduct the forums at the meeting. You state your question and then the candidates are allowed to respond. We can't have a lot of back and forth. It's too difficult for the candidates to respond to that sort of thing, and it's distracting to the other participants.
Yeah, I pretty much have to echo what Mr. Tillis said. Our zoning ordinances are a little like any other document that's drawn up, such as the Constitution. We're constantly changing, and what we do today may not fit 20 years down the road. And so they are changing. We have found some problems with the UDO, the Unified Development Ordinance. And we're making those changes as they come along. Is the ordinance perfect? Lord, no. If it ever gets perfect, we're going to patent that thing and sell it to other towns. But going back to the comment, one thing that I strongly believe in, those of you that know me, you know that I live by the open meetings and the public records law. If I had my way, there'd be almost no secrecy at all in government. I just don't believe in it from my newspaper days. But we do have to do a little rethinking of some of our ordinances. Not that it's bad, but we have to look at it in the context of, have the events changed that would require that we redo? Some of the things that I'm hearing out here is that some of the regulations that were written years ago are an impediment to business and to particularly to some of the entrepreneurs. So we need to look at that. It's an ongoing thing.